Well, that will be really easy to ask from the point of view of the, for instance, Donald Trump, because that's exactly what they are trying to lead us as Europeans. They try to show us that Europe cannot survive economically and strategically without choosing China or without choosing US. But this is a mischaracterization because Europe is actively de-risking, not naively entangling with one or another. As European Commission June 2023 strategy on economic security states, critical sectors like green tech or in AI, for instance, being systematically diversified. Europe's strategy is calibrated. It protects open trade where it serves European interests, but asserts strategic controls where it must. That's actually what they're really trying to do to achieve this balance and economic realism with a quite strong geopolitical vigilance. The coupling is all sake, neither wise, neither necessary would be, because clearly Europe relevance stems from its sovereignty. It's not subordination. And merging multipolar order, like we are having now, require from Europe to have its own pole on its own right. And for instance, Mrs. von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, said quite clearly that Europe needs to be an architect of new global order, not a subcontractor. And that's the most powerful message which comes both to Beijing and to Washington. Europe relevance will be defined on its adaptability and ability to act independently, to defend multilateralism, and to mediate where confrontation looms. This will be really important because that will allow Europe's strategic value to be visible for both Washington and the whole world, because we cannot forget that European Union, which was clearly firstly an economic alliance, is something which is really important to us.
Right.
And it will do, and European Commission will do all what they can do to ensure that there will be no unnecessary sacrificing from economic competitiveness against US and China.
Right, but Mrs. Romanowska, let me get it or say it straight. Now, for an instant, Germany's export-driven economy is deeply intertwined with China. Now, how realistic is a strategic decoupling from Beijing?
Well, this is something we have to do, because de-risking from China is a realistic policy for European export-driven economy. It's not just a wishful thinking. The economic security strategy sets a clear pathway. We need to maintain trade in non-sensitive areas while tightly controlling technologies such as quantum computing, AI, and critical minerals are taking place. And this German recent China strategy, which is one of the first of the kind, also demonstrates how Europe's largest economy is shifting from dependency to diversification, particularly through reshoring supply chains and deepening ties within the Indo-Pacific democracies. De-risking does not mean disengaging, and that's a quite important accent here, because no single actor holds Europe hostage in the critical sectors, and that's pragmatism, not only wishful thinking, but this is as well, let's say, quite flexible, pragmatic, because we need to ensure integration and differentiated solidarity. We need to rediscover EU Recovery Fund, which after COVID-19, let's say, started with historic joint debt issuance, showed that solidarity of the EU must be designed in a flexible way to accommodate different economic needs,
right.
And especially now.
From a different perspective, defense remains a key point. Now, what would it take for Europe to truly stand on its own militarily without relying on US support?
Well, it's like Jens Stoltenberg recently, Jens Stoltenberg previously, and now Mark Rutte said that the welcoming greater European defense capabilities will complement NATO, but the EU, the European Union, focus on military mobility, cybersecurity, capabilities shortfalls, for instance, airlift, drones, etc., will directly support transatlantic objectives. Hence, as well, supporting EU, US as well connection in that field. Let's not forget that we do have, as European PESCO, which is Parliament European Structured Cooperation, or cooperation within the European countries. We do have as well a lot of investment within the new defense funds, which clearly are not only used to support our neighbors, but as well to actually review, or I don't want to use the word resuscitate, European defense and security sector of the economics, which now is actually something which is showing as well not only our digital sovereignty, but as well defense and security and weaponization and automation sovereignty as well in a global context, because it's not excessive militarization which could crowd out of necessary our investment. This is something which is dual use, let's say. This is digital investment, quite often social green investment, which are making European soft powers stronger. Clearly, European Union prosperity and influence will be built as well, and this is one of the contexts they do trying to do so, through wise alignment with Washington values. But they are finally ready and finally, let's say, paired with sober self-interest, both in economic and diplomatic affairs, but more importantly, with their own investment in the security and defense matters and the sector of our economies.
You're speaking here about the AI. You're speaking here about the AI initiative that was announced by von der Leyen and the 30 billion euros that would be given or submitted for the initiative. But Mrs. Romanowska, China's economic footprint in Europe is or has been growing for some time, especially in key sectors like energy and mobility, also in the AI and the technology. Is that necessarily a threat to European sovereignty?
Let's look at all of this from the different perspective. We are not treating it as a threat because we don't want to have, let's say, difficult. We don't want to highlight the anonymity. But what we are trying to achieve as Europeans is to have this security sovereignty. For instance, concerning the semiconductors, we would like to invest European money to buy European issues, European, for instance, semiconductors, European technology, and invest within our own deep tech sector.